Will Powers have just last hour concluded a meeting convened by Russia on the Skripal poisoning case. The Russian ambassador addressed the chamber for over half an hour, slamming the UK's claims of Kremlin involvement in last month's attack on the former double agent and his daughter.
Let's speak cynically. Why did Russia wait 8 years and decide to act 2 weeks before the election and a few months before the World Cup? Why was he even released from the country in the first place? Why eliminate him in that strange and dangerous manner?
The meeting was convened by the Russian Federation, and when the UN Security Council had gathered, the meeting opened with remarks by the Russian ambassador in which he essentially said that Moscow is demanding answers. He pointed out that allegations were leveled against Russia just hours after the attack had taken place, and that those allegations are hard to believe as neither Boris Johnson or Theresa May are chemical experts. He went on to point out that Porton-Down Laboratory, which actually tested the chemical substance, did not say what the origin of the chemicals was and had no way of determining that. Now, we then heard from the Russian representative, and the ambassador of the Russian Federation said that the allegations were absurd.
Boris Johnson mentioned Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment, saying that the novel's main intrigue was whether the culprit would confess before he gets caught. The novel, by the way, is not about that at all. It's not a detective story. It's serious philosophical literature. I would advise Boris Johnson to read other works of Dostoevsky, or at least learn the titles. British intelligence has immediately rushed to Boris Johnson's rescue, just like Chippendale. It's a theatre of the absurd.
Now, Russia has offered a joint investigation into the incident. However, it seems pretty clear that the United Kingdom does not want that. These are the remarks that we heard from the ambassador representing the United Kingdom before the Security Council.
Mr. President, there are several ways to view this joint investigation. I think the metaphor that I find most apt is that of an arsonist turned firefighter. But in this particular instance, the arsonist wishes to investigate his own fire. I am sorry, Mr. President, but that does not make it an independent investigation.
Yulia Skripal has actually given her first statement to the UK police, and she is apparently recovering from the incident. So a lot of questions are remaining, and this could be the beginning of a new chapter in the investigation into what exactly happened in Salisbury. But the focus of the meeting seemed to be Russia, strongly urging the world not to make assumptions and to look into the actual facts of the case.
So all the focus on New York tonight, where that UN Security Council meeting took place. There as well, private investor and writer Charles Ortal to give us his thoughts about it. I don't know if you're watching all of it, but certainly the Russian ambassador to the UN, Vasily Nebenzia, described the UK allegations here as a theatre of the absurd. Is that an accurate description as you see it from your side of the water there?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could say many things about Vladimir Putin, and I've never met the man, but I don't think you can call him stupid. And, the notion, as the commentators were saying, that right before an election, right before this World Cup, that the Russian state would do something like this in the UK, coming off the experience in Syria, where there were questions leveled about, what really happened with that chemical attack back then. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't serve Russia's interests. What it does do is it serves to heighten the tensions between the UK and Russia, and maybe now the US and Russia, and who benefits from that? I think it's elements within the American deep state and allied actors in the UK. This comes at the same time as we have lingering serious questions over the provenance of the Steele dossier and how this Robert Mueller investigation actually came to happen. So, I think we really need to, calm down a little bit and search for evidence jointly. And I don't like it when I see somebody make claims that aren't supported.
Well, of course, Britain is saying no, it doesn't want to have Russia involved. It would therefore not be an independent investigation if that was the case. But Nebenzia came out tonight with a whole pile of questions that you would very much asked if you were being accused of this kind of thing. Is there any way, any scope at all that Russia can be involved here? Because it's saying it won't go by the OPC report if it isn't involved.
Well, I certainly hope Russia can be involved. I mean, I would pose the question, by the logic that the UK is using there, you know, is there a possibility that either elements within the UK security apparatus or elements, you know, private contractors to the same, these shadowy organizations we've learned about, is it possible that, you know, they may have instigated something like that? And if so, by the logic of whoever was using that argument, the UK shouldn't be involved in an investigation. So, you know, I really think these are very serious matters. Both of our countries are armed to the teeth. It's quite something to accuse a foreign leader of this type of behavior.
Well, the US is doing it too.
Serve his interests.
The US, again, said tonight, Kelly Currie there around the table, she said it's Washington's firm belief that Russia was responsible. Again, how can the US be so sure?
I can't answer that question. Just as a private citizen, I have my grave doubts about this. I have grave concerns about whether our deep state has gone rogue and whether our deep state here in this country and its allies are interested in always having a high state of military tension so that they can justify their existence. So, I mean, I think we really need to get to the bottom in a fair way of what truly did happen here. Perhaps, you know, as we start musing and thinking more deeply about these questions and trying to find answers, perhaps this will actually instigate a chance for the United States and Russia to work productively towards a common mutual end, which is bringing tensions down and fostering economic growth around the world.
Well, you could see a good outcome from this, then, yeah, on your most positive day.
I certainly would like to. I guess, aren't we all getting a bit tired of this at this point?
Well, I think we'll leave it on that thought, sir. Charles Ortel, lovely to have you on the programme, private investor and writer on the line from New York City, who said where all that action is at the UN tonight. Thank you.